Hey everyone, this is Nicole Wolfe from Canadian Beats, and I'm joined on the phone with Shane Volk, who is the lead singer and creative mastermind behind Canadian rock band One Bad Son. Shane joins us from Calgary today. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us today, Shane.
Thanks for talking to me, Nicole.
It,
Creative mastermind. Mastermind. I like that. No one's ever called me a mastermind
well,
before.
I'm gonna outline why I think that's the case, and I'm pretty sure our listeners might agree once I outline a few things here for us. Now, I have to admit, personally, this is one interview that I was absolutely stoked to take on. For those of you that have been following One Bad Son on our blog, I first personally covered them in 2015. That was way back when in your Psycho Killer tour, and you guys
Yeah.
made a stop in Barrie, and you guys were actually with some pretty awesome bands that we've covered a few times as well: the Wild from the West Coast and the Lazies from
There, boy.
Australia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What a night that was.
Oh
Right?
gosh.
I think we're still recovering like 2 years later.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely a lot of memories made on and off the stage that night for everyone. So always a good time when One Bad Son comes to town. Now, anxiously awaiting, and I'm hoping you might have some juicy tidbits. You've been all over social media making lots of announcements about Western Canada. And while we love Western Canada, we're wondering when Eastern Canada's turn is going to be. So I'd love to talk about that and hear if you have anything to share. And we also hear you've got some new music on the way. So, all things that we're going to talk about tonight. But before we get to it, I just want to fill the listeners in a little bit about your band, in case they haven't heard of you, if they're living under a rock, perhaps. You guys are originally from Saskatoon. You kind of reestablished yourselves in Vancouver. And you've had some pretty amazing successes over the years, including opening for bands and touring with bands like Buck Cherry, Godsmack, Monster Truck, 3 Days Grace, Crash Karma, Def Leppard, and Judas Priest, just to name a
Yeah.
few. And some great successes with some singles that have, made it onto the rock charts and have received some heavy rotation on the radio. Songs like Rust Bucket, Retribution Blues, Scarecrows, and more recently Satellite Hotel and Black Buffalo. Now, as I mentioned, Shane, you are the creative mastermind behind all that this band has, basically being, the main songwriter, but you also play some other artistic roles within the band that we'll talk about. For example, you have designed a lot of the artwork for some of the merch, like the t-shirts and whatnot. And you even, you played your hand in creating a music video for your band.
Yeah. Yes.
So, so have
The lowest budget music video ever filmed, I think.
But a super amazing video. And, given the fact that it's a cover song, it kind of fit the bill for the song itself. It was kind of a neat
Yeah.
tribute to, everything that is that song. So let's get to it. Now, this week, March 3rd, you have a brand new single coming out, Raging Bull. Now, by the time this interview actually makes it to the internet, Raging Bull will already be, reaching number one status, I'm sure. Now, it's been released by 604 Records and Sony Music Canada. Tell us a little bit about the song. What's the inspiration behind it? Who'd you work with, and so on.
Well, this song, it's interesting because, a lot of things have changed as they do over the years with bands. Just how we create, how we write, and this time around, we've all kind of opened up our writing. We're writing lyrics together. We're all writing music together, and a big part of that is because we started working with Gavin Brown, who's produced like 3 Days Grace
Mm-hmm.
and some of Billy Talent's bigger stuff, and Metric, and tons and tons of other bands, and so he's really opened up our writing process and really, taken the selfishness out of our writing process, I would say. So, I've opened up a lot, and which has been amazing, because I think after 12 years of writing with the same people, it's good to just change your ways and progress and grow. So that's been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But the song in particular is just, it's a quick rock tune. I think it clocks in at like 2 minutes and 50 seconds, something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's everything that OBS has, like everything that's made us successful up to this point. But it's also, I think showing some major growth and some, kind of how we wanted to grow and stretch our sound. And, I'm extremely proud of it, and it's a little bit of a departure from what maybe OBS fans expected before. But, lyrically, it's just about, it's really about like the moment before your big moment. Like for us, it's that last moment before we go on stage, or how, say, an athlete will feel before the big game, and then it moves on to kind of illustrate that, when you're finally in it, you get to like get out there and show the world what you've got, and like just all the emotion and that goes into that. So it's it's a song that we're super, super proud of, and we've actually kind of given some sneak peeks to some of different radio stations around the country, and they're already getting great reaction, which is always super nice to hear when fans are embracing it. So.
Well, I have to tell you, I've had a sneak peek of the song myself, and what's nice about it is it's very distinctly One Bad Son. Like, anyone that knows your band that hasn't heard this song would pause and say, "Hey, like, that's OBS for sure." But what's nice about it is it does show maturity. It does show a complete departure from what you've done, and it's phenomenal. So I can't wait to see the reaction from your fans when the song,
Yeah, likewise. I appreciate you saying that. And it's, when you change, I'm not saying we changed sounds or anything like that. I mean, we're still a rock band, and we always will be. But I feel like, and we've had this discussion a lot within the band in the last year or so, and, if you're just going to stay the same, you can't grow, you can't reach new audiences, and so we're just stoked to be moving on to the next chapter.
But yet, in the same case, you stay true to your roots. It's not such a complete departure that it's a sellout from who you were originally.
I've always said when I open my mouth, I sing the way I sing. I can't make my voice sound differently. So
no, that's for sure. Your voice is, I like to think of it as like, you hear so many music greats in there. You think of like Steven Tyler in there, and some of the singers that just have those raw, gritty voices, but yet at the same time it sounds like none of them. Like, it's distinctly your voice. So I think probably that is the most defining factor. It doesn't matter what song you hear by OBS, your voice rings through, and it's definitely one of your songs. Now, what has been the... Oh, no worries. What's been the response? Have you played this song at some of your more recent shows that you've done in Western Canada?
Yeah, like, it's been going over like crazy at every show we've played, which definitely helps when you're trying to pick a single. Though I'll say that, we played that along with a couple other brand new songs, which have also gone over amazingly. So people are embracing the new stuff, which is good to see. But this song in particular, people have really been getting up for and getting into. So
that's great.
And we will be bringing it out east, so don't worry. It won't. We aren't just going to tour Western Canada forever here. So
no, you got to stick. You got to stick close to home when you're your focus has obviously been on songwriting. So the tour doesn't get launched until you've got the songs ready for that, and we completely understand that.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. We've been writing so much that before Christmas we had like a 2-week window, I think, not even, to get out and play some shows. So it was cool to get out around home and play, to our Western Canadian fans. But we've got good things in store for the East in 2017 here. So
that's awesome. So my next question for you was, what happens next? Do you have plans to release another single, or is the tour going to happen before that?
Well, I think, the first thing that happens is, the song comes out. We actually, we shot the video for it when we were out in Vancouver in the last week or so. And so the video will get finished up, and probably I'm thinking maybe within a couple weeks of the song coming out, the video might drop. We don't have an exact timeline on a lot of that stuff, but that'll be following it up. And then, we may or may not have a little surprise for our fans. As far as maybe another song that might come out, not so much a single, but just, I will say this, Nicole, I love the new era of the music industry. I mean, it's like releasing more songs more often, and, like not holding your stuff back. It's great to like record something and put it out and get on tour. So
absolutely,
tour is definitely going to be happening as well. So we just just have to figure out logistically how the tour is going to work. We still have some recording to do as well. So so we're just trying to straighten out our spring, and we've already got some festival dates getting booked here for the summertime. So
very nice.
It's going to be a crazy year. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Well, we are definitely going to be along for the ride, for sure, as you travel out our way. So that pretty much answered my next question, which was, if you have any plans for summer festivals. I'm sure, it seems to be that every day, like one or two more festivals seem to be announcing their lineups today. Quite a few were announced. Tomorrow, I think they're hinting at a few others. So I'm sure as those roll out, we'll be happy to see your name close to the top of that list, which would be awesome.
Well, yes, and we would be happy to see our names at the top of that list. Because, I don't even know if we got a festival in Ontario last year, so we're really hoping we get a couple this year, because we love playing Ontario, and we have some plans for Quebec as well, and we've had some. Well, we played Fredericton last summer, but that was amazing because the East is so good to us as well. So we're just stoked to get out and play, just to play the East, all over the East more often. So,
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah, like then when you were on your last tour, you and I spent some time talking after the show, and you expressed your love of the stage and how you feel most at home when you're on the road. And it's been a long time, with the exception of those few shows in Western Canada before Christmas. So obviously you've devoted all of that energy, all of that buzz for the stage, and you've obviously directed it into your songwriting to kind of pass the time.
If it was up to me, we'd be on stage pretty much every night. I love it, but there's a time to write, and there's last year we didn't play quite as much, and I think it was necessary because we've since Scarecrows came out, really, it's been nonstop touring.
Right.
And so every now and then it's good to just take a deep breath. Everybody goes home, and everybody just kind of collects themselves, and then it you need those times in order for your writing to stay fresh. And,
for sure.
Everybody to remain friends in the band.
For sure. Now, you mentioned that, in the creation of this new single and some of your new music, that the band has taken more of a all hands on deck approach to the songwriting, which, in the past, traditionally, I think it was mainly, your ideas, your music, which was then, introduced to the band. So I was going to ask, as the primary songwriter, do you feel an added pressure to produce the next hit, and has that been alleviated now that you're doing more co-writing with your band?
Well, I'll say this. We've always had a pretty high level of co-writing. I definitely wrote, all the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
We always everyone contributed music, but and I think that just sort of grew out of, growing up in Saskatoon and stuff, I was never around musicians, as a kid. I was more of an athlete and stuff like that. So you kind of, OBS was always a learn as you go kind of project, and I just always took the lyrics on as something I felt I had to do, and I wanted to do. I love writing lyrics. I love writing music. And as you mentioned, doing other art, I love doing some of the merch, and it's great creative outlets for me. But this time around, it's been great to just, relinquish control and, just let other people's ideas come out and just, write in more of an open forum. Eventually ideas have to get, distilled and boiled down into songs, but, it's been great because, I think if you had to sit down and write everything yourself all the time, like you said, it's a lot of pressure.
For sure.
Whereas, the new way that we're approaching it is, it's amazing just to sit there with your friends and, other writers and just, let that free flow of ideas come out. And, it's important in this industry to somehow keep your fire going, and keep new ideas coming out and keep things fresh. So, I'm really, really excited about the new approach we're taking to songwriting.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
That's great.
I have a great band. I cannot complain. We're, we're four brothers. We're a unit, so yeah, we're in it together, writing and performing and hours and hours and hours in advance. So
That's for sure. Now, in the past, you've had songs connect to very specific events in your past. For example, Retribution Blues. You often tell that story when you're on stage about it being, the story about a girl who broke your heart in high school, and you took an about face and took revenge upon the situation.
Broken-hearted Shane, high school Shane. Yeah.
Oh man. So my question is, not necessarily to your upbringing, but were there any specific experiences from your band that are being brought out in your new music that's coming out?
Well, I think what we're trying to touch on with the new stuff is like I kind of give you the rundown of kind of what Raging Bull is about, and I think what we've kind of approached, instead of like so far anyway, there's more lyrics that have to be written, and I love storytelling kind of writing, I just
right.
love that, but we're also kind of, sort of letting the music guide the lyrics a little bit, and that was sort of the thing with Raging Bull, like the music just kind of give it this sort of, just there was this energy to it that, I think just reflects directly in the lyrics, and that's kind of an interesting way to do it as well. And so, a lot of the lyrics this time around are personal, because, as a singer, you want to and have to connect personally to lyrics. Like, I've always had a hard time just singing somebody else's story direct, because it's,
of course,
you're not, if you're not really, I could do that if I was having a major connection with it, but this time around it's a lot more just core emotions, like that, like, it's amazing just to sing about love and to sing about, even, just excitement and just, very, very human emotions, and which I think when you connect that with rock and roll is a great way to approach it. Get just those core human emotions everyone has, and like I said, just kind of let the music guide that, and guaranteed there'll be a bit of storytelling in there as well, because after, like I said, 12 years on the road with the boys, there's a lot of stories to be told. So just waiting for the right music to guide that, I think. I'm
sure there are, and if we had another 2 hours for this phone call, I'm sure that, we could hear quite a few of them. But, unfortunately, these interviews never leave that much time unless, we want to, sing our listeners to sleep afterwards, perhaps.
The extended 4-hour interview.
That's right. So just a few more questions for you then. This year's going to be pretty full with, the release of new music and getting back onto touring. So if we could extend in the next 2 or 3 years, what would be, at the top of your band's bucket list for accomplishments?
We've kind of narrowed our goals down. We really want to hit some international markets. I think it's time for us to spread our, Canada's been amazing to us, and, it's always going to be our home. Saskatchewan will always be our home. Like I said, in a broader sense, all of Canada is really who we are, but, it's time for us to branch out and to, start getting down to the States more. Like, we've played down there a bit, but it's time to get there more and, get to Europe and just, our band has had, I think, very fortunately, like a very organic growth, like we've never been granted any kind of major opportunities unless they were, due to our extremely hard work, which I think is what you want as a band. You want to work hard and get, and have, like I said, an organic growth, and I think we've had that in Canada.
Absolutely.
So I think, that in the next couple of years is really what we'd like to see, is just, keep our fan base growing steady and organically, and move it out to other territories, other countries. And
not a bad goal.
I think it's the way to go. World domination happens
absolutely
slowly most of the time. So
right. Well, maybe I foresee a bit of a band swap. The Lazies have spent quite a bit of time with you here in Canada. I believe some of the boys are actually kicking around Toronto as we speak. Perhaps it's time to visit their motherland.
Well, I'd love to go down to Australia. There's ground to cover down there for
Absolutely.
sure. So
That would be great.
Yeah, I'm not against touring anywhere in this world. That's for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, second last question for you here. And I'm actually going to participate in this one. Little known facts about Shane. So what I want you to think about is, what is one little known fact that your fans and those that follow you quite closely on social media might not know? When I started to research your band, one of the things that I didn't realize, and then once I made a connection to your music, I was like, how did I not figure that out? Little known fact about you was that you're actually quite the history buff.
Oh, I'm a major history buff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, history. I think that you're right. Like if you listen to a lot of my lyrics off the last few records, there's definitely stuff in there that's very history oriented. And I have Vimy tattooed on my arm. Like I'm a big First World War. Like that era is very much kind of a huge interest of mine. And actually, I went to visit Vimy Ridge this summer.
Amazing.
So, it was amazing. So, I think, the more people are on my social media, the less secrets they're going to find because, I like to put it all out there. But, definitely, yes, I am definitely a huge history nerd. There is no hiding that. So.
Well, that's probably where the storytelling maybe comes from, too, if you think about it.
Yeah, I come from a family of storytellers.
Well, there you go.
I've been known to babble.
I don't believe that for a second. Not a second. All right. Well, I'm going to put restrictions on you for this last question then.
Okay.
In 20 words or less, describe One Bad Son.
20 words or less. I would say brothers who, are just rock and roll to the core, who, are all about power and love and rock and roll.
Amazing. You went over, but I'll give it to you.
Okay. I wasn't counting.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, March 3rd is just a few days away. Best of luck with the release of Raging Bull. I'm sure it's going to be a massive success, and we look forward to announcements coming soon as to when some fans across the country might get to see you again. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Shane. And
great. Thank you so much, Nicole.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Definitely you will.
Thanks. This has been Nicole Wolfe from Canadian Beats, and we'll catch you next time.